Oh, hello, and welcome to Dente Rigamortis. I'm Review Cultist.
I'm Mikey, the E stands for evil.
And I'm the gamer in yellow.
And we're here to discuss those internet stories, most creepy and most pasta, and be critically silly doing it. And tonight we have Delivery. So, Delivery is by Eric Dodd. It's on creepypasta.wiki, so you can check it out there. This one actually came to us from one of my buddies. Who's been giving us basically like a dozen or more creepypastas on a spooky list.
And this is the first one we're doing?
Yes.
Nice.
Delivery starts off with Mark, although we don't know his name at this point. Well, not until like halfway through the story we find out what his actual name is.
Regardless, it's Mark.
Yeah. And he encounters something or someone in the walk-in freezer at his pizzeria place that we don't know that it's actually a pizzeria place at that point, but
Also didn't know that
kind
the
of
Walken family created pizza freezers either.
Hmm?
I also didn't know that the Walken family created freezers as well.
no, like walk-in freezers is a term.
Yeah. Christopher and his father founded the company back in 1874. They've been making freezers. Why are you giving me that look?
So when he went to go grab some stuff from the walk-in freezer at the pizzeria,
You can't see it any other way.
he thought he saw something, or like swears he saw something, like standing in the doorway, and like this creepy, pale-faced figure with blackened eyes and a blackened mouth, and then it was gone, like within a second. And then a couple weeks passed, and that memory started fading from his memory. And he's working at the pizzeria, and he gets a call from the Maple Street Kid, who is this kid that's known by reputation as the one that they call prank calls, asks for a ridiculously topped pizza or like a pizza with weird toppings, and then tells them to go to 217 Maple Street, which doesn't exist. There is no 217 between 211 and 212. No, between 211 and 221. There is no 217, which is it's just a weather-worn fence. But regardless, they decided to make the pizza because it's Mark's favorite pizza. So, and I guess he's going out there and just going to sit out there and eat the pizza.
Pretty much.
I guess he's on his dinner break. Anyway, he goes out there with the pizza, and strangely enough, it's there. 217 the house is there. So he gets out of the car, grabs with the pizza in tow, knocks on the door, and there's a kid there, and he gives the kid the pizza and gets some money back, and that's the delivery. Goes back and tells his manager. Wow, I was like trying to combine boss and manager. His manager and Susan, and like she doesn't believe him at all. Like, okay, well, we're gonna go out there after shift. And you're going to show me this bullshit because you're clearly playing a prank. Because you guys are always playing pranks on people here. Because that's something they do.
Apparently.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So after shift, they go out there in, I believe, Susan's truck. And sure enough, it's still there. And she's just like, no, this is bullshit. And it's like, pay up. It's like, no, fuck you. Hang on.
It's like, I've lived here my entire life. This is
there should not be a 217 on this street. I know every house and property in this town. Mm-hmm. And so she goes marching up the steps to the house. The door opens up.
Or was already open.
It's already open, yeah. And then Mark suddenly realizes what she's doing, and like that's a bad idea, and like tries to stop her.
I've seen horror movies now.
Yeah. And she goes in, and it slams, and so he tries to open the door, and it's like the doorknob is like ice, like so cold it burns. Mm. And so he like runs around the back, tries to open that door, bangs on it, tries to get the attention of Susan, goes back around, and sees the kid again.
The Maple Street Kid.
Yeah, the Maple Street Kid. And he's like, you shouldn't be here. Why are you here? And then like he starts like freaking out and like realizes, like looks to the house. It's like like, she shouldn't be in there. Oh, you're ruining my plans or something like that. And
He didn't say anything about plans, but he's essentially saying, you let someone in?
Yeah,
oh god, you have to get out of here.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. And so he just runs.
He tells Mark to run.
Yeah, he tells Mark to run, like, and his mouth opens, like, uncannily wide. There's no teeth, it's just blackness. And so he just, like, books it. And then he comes back a little bit later, and the house and the truck are gone.
He ran all the way back to the pizzeria, grabbed his car.
Oh, yeah.
And then drove back.
Exactly, yeah. And that's when, he gets back, and it's, like, the house is gone, the truck's gone. And when he gets back to the next day or like whatever, when he's asked by police, he comes up with the story that like she just left with with the $5,000 in the till, or from the till that day, and she just goes missing basically, and no one seems to work. The manager, like the new manager, and like them like seem a little suspicious of him, but the cops don't seem any problem with it. So with his story. But yeah, and the reason he didn't say anything about it is because, well, like,
who's gonna fucking
exactly. Like, best case scenario, they're gonna think I'm a nut job. So he basically just keeps that on, and he knows that it wasn't like any weirdness or anything like that, or like he knows that she's in the house still because the next prank call they get, it's for pizza with the toppings that were her favorite, and that's the end of the story. So check out Delivery if you haven't already on creepypasta.wiki. So now we're going to go into Everyone Expects the Grandma Inquisitions. At this point, Susan sent the other driver home, and all I had left was to wash a few dishes and wait for her to finish her count the register totals. So that last bit is a little weird, and I think it's supposed to be this. And wait for her to finish her count of the register totals.
Yep.
Just needs like an of between, like in the middle there. And then my last grammar inquisition that I had that really kind of stuck out to me was 217, written, was still missing. But 211, a number, and 221, also a number, stood only a weather-beaten wooden fence. Okay, there's no reason in the story to suddenly spell out the number 217. Everywhere else in the story, you use the number. Maybe the reason I think they used the written version is to to emphasize that it was missing. But no, you don't need it. If you're going to use you either use numbers or you use words when it comes to presenting numbers in a story. You don't do both. So
well, the way if I recall correctly, it's like anything above 23.
Yeah,
just use the number. As opposed to writing it down.
Yeah, because it's a longer, like it's too many syllables, or it's too much of a letter like a letter count. And that's my grammar inquisitions, honestly. So, Mikey, what do you got?
I have a front end.
Woo! there's my energy.
I wonder where it was.
I heard the click and slide of tongue on teeth underneath the low wheeze of the freezer fan, and he was gone.
Yeah.
In a flash, he was gone.
Yeah. I was like,
there's something flowery you can do more than and.
Yeah,
essentially.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And that's it for my grammar inquisitions.
Wow.
What you got, Gamer?
I know.
At least you got a front end.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I got at least one.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. It's not front butt. But.
There were no front butts, I'm sorry. I searched.
And there were no it stories. Remember those?
I remember. Why are you face bombing?
Yeah.
Don't you enjoy the it stories?
There's so much work.
Oh no, it says it. I have to make a note of it.
It's fine. That joke is summarily kicked.
I normally do those when there's a lot of sentences that begin with it.
Yeah.
And when you string them together and they become something hilarious.
Yeah. Oh god, nothing beats that fucking squirrel.
Yeah.
It comes full force.
Yep.
Okay, anyway, sorry. So we should stop reminiscing on past episodes. What do you got, Gaber?
Oh, okay. Well, I mean, I guess it's grammar, but it's not. I don't know. It's weird. It's a weird type of grammar.
Yeah.
Anyway, so right from the get-go, I felt like we were starting off without an intro. Because the first is like, I saw him for the first time in the freezer. Who are you? Where are you? Who's him?
Shit. Okay, sorry. You're not wrong.
Thank you.
This is what it's called in being placed in media res. However, I actually agree that this story does not do it right. And that's actually my actual thoughts. I honestly felt that this part was kind of didn't need to be where it is, and actually could have been put elsewhere in the story to help it to better explain the kid, or like why he thought the kid was why he thought the kid was weird.
Pretty much, yeah.
Because I read it too, and it was like the first thing I went to. As I was reading it, it was like, all right, so he's opening up a freezer and like probably in the basement or something like that, and then that's where he saw the kid. I was like, okay, so we're doing a serial killer who has a person's a body in his fridge.
That's exactly what I had, because I was thinking it was like an old school fridge freezer where they open in the top of the freezer, and it's like that's where I saw him, and I'm like, okay, I thought it's either a tiny creature or there's just body parts in there.
Well, see, and I thought a big like a large like a chest freezer, and then and I was like halfway through, I was like, it was a walk-in freezer,
no,
and
walk-in.
Fuck off! God damn it!
Walk-in brand. No, this is sponsored by Walk-in brand freezers. How dare you?
Cowabunga. Anyway, it's a room. It's a cold room, basically.
Yep.
And I was like, oh, okay. So, and then like right afterward, we find out that he works at a pizzeria and some of that.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, this makes a lot more sense now.
Where it clicked for me is when it said right there by the door he was standing. I'm like, okay, there's a door.
Yeah.
Yes, you thought it was a chest freezer. I thought it was an old school fridge freezer. What did you think, Mikey? These things were evil.
I went to walk-in freezer.
Did you? Right from the get-go?
Yeah.
Oh.
Well, yeah.
Okay, fair.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, so like I said, I do agree with you. Like, as like I usually am fine with like these like in media res like throw you into a scene, but this one honestly was a little confusing, a little bit like choppy.
Yeah,
it could have been placed better somewhere else in the story.
Well, and do we even really need it?
Yeah, no, that honestly we might not even need it at all.
Need what?
Like the sequence, like because he forgets, like he has this experience like weeks before like the story actually kicks in, and then it kind of becomes superfluous until about like halfway through the story.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah,
and like honestly, if it had been moved to that point in the story, like halfway through, it would have served better.
But it shows that this kid's been like semi-haunting the place.
Yeah, but at the same time, like you could still have that in the halfway through because we are already introduced to the kid is like a prankster and something at the beginning.
I suppose.
Yeah. So
either way, so back into the freezer.
Yeah.
When at this point, Narrative Man sees the creature or kid, whatever. I thought it was
the pale figure.
Yeah. Either way, I blinked a few times and looked around, even though I know the freezer was too small to contain another person. So I was under the impression that it was a large walk-in freezer.
Yeah.
But now it sounds like he turned around and he's face-to-face with him, like he's right at the door.
Or
like there's no room for another person.
Yeah, what I'm thinking is like he's looking around, the way I kind of interpreted it, so like suddenly it shrunk down, but it shrunk down like to like a person can walk through, but it's still like there's a little bit of distance between him and the door.
There's no room for another person.
But he's looking around to see if there's anyone that like could have hid somewhere.
Doesn't say that.
So there's enough room for that creature, but not another person.
Apparently,
it was the freezer was too small to contain another person.
Okay, fine. Then it's just fucking bullshit. Let's get rid of it. Yeah.
That's all I'm saying. It says right there it's too small.
Okay.
So from that imagery now, it seems like it's essentially if you take a fridge.
It's really just a closet.
Yeah, it legit is. It's a closet.
Well,
or it's like
it's
a fridge,
actually,
but the entire thing's a freezer.
Mm-hmm. It's
it's too deep, so you have to
let him talk.
Yeah. Well, he cut me off when I was still. So I'm cutting him off. I'm recutting.
Copy and pasted.
Yeah, there you go.
It's a small walk-in freezer.
Yes.
I've seen them, and there is a limit that you really only want one person in there at a time because otherwise you can't really move.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's literally a aisle.
Yeah, it's a small hallway.
Yes, I get it.
So basically, he turned around to leave,
And it was blocked.
and there, it was right there in front of him.
Okay, then
Then
the
there's,
wording,
like-
if that's what it's meant to portray, then it should be changed to make that more clear.
Yes.
Because you could theoretically fit 10 of him lined up.
No.
No.
What it's saying is that he turned around, it was there, there wasn't enough room for another person, so the third person.
With third person?
No, like,
There's no third person because there wasn't enough room.
it's not talking about like how like it's not like immediate like one of those walk-in. It's not like thing where like you walk in and like you have like you turn around and you're basically nose to nose to anybody who's in the doorway. It's like a small aisle.
I get what you're saying.
Okay.
All I know is that the story is saying I blinked a few times and looked around, even though I know the freezer was too small.
Yeah.
So
Honestly,
it should essentially say I turned around to leave, looked down the aisle,
Yeah.
and at the door was this creature.
It is very. I will actually give you this. It is very. This whole section is honestly very misleading because we all saw different things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
With the freezer.
Well, and I mean, even the monster, like, until it says, like, I think at some point it says it's a kid, but until that point,
Yeah. I was expecting Slender Man with like
Yeah,
black
I
eyes.
imagined
And,
the Slender Man from the get-go. Yeah.
and then again, like he looks around. Like when it says like he looked around, even though he knew that like there's only enough room for one person. I inferred that like he was looking around to see where the guy went to hide, because suddenly it went from being like a slightly larger cold room to just a hallway cold room, like a corridor. So. There's a lot of like changing.
Every single sentence
Yeah.
changes what the freezer is,
Yeah.
and that's the problem.
Yeah, and even to me, like that was very janky and very uncoordinated.
Yeah,
yeah.
pretty much.
So, like, I'm usually very lenient with those kind of things, and even
Yeah.
I was like, okay, first off, this doesn't even need to be here. It serves no real purpose right now, except to have a creepy thing at the beginning, and then it's like, anyway, let's just talk about the rest of the story. Talk about his mundane job,
Yeah,
and ignore this spooky thing.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
But moving on.
Yes.
On to paragraph 3, where it starts with, I had been working at a chain pizza place for a year or so. I had a car, valid license, blah, 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 blah. There's our intro.
Yeah.
It's just 3 paragraphs in for some reason. Because there's no words of creepiness there. It just says that he works at a chain pizza place for a year and blah, 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 blah.
Yeah, it gives us the information about him.
Yeah. It builds the scene after the scene's already been built.
Yeah, it's like it's like it almost feels like I almost wouldn't have been surprised if he woke like at the end of like those 3 paragraphs, he woke up and it was a nightmare. Like that's about as meaningful as that creepy. Like it's just a creepy spook to get you into the story, but it serves no other purpose, and it doesn't really need to be there. Like we've been saying for like the last 5 minutes.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And to answer what you said earlier about you think it was about halfway through the story we find out that the creature was a kid.
Yeah.
Actually, after delivering.
After delivery, and he
It says it wasn't until later washing the dishes in the back I realized why the kid had looked so normal, so familiar to me. I had seen him before, freezer.
And then that's when you insert these 3 paragraphs.
Yes.
That's when you insert that, because that would actually give us context to what he just said. And give us more details about like why it was so familiar. Like,
and not have it be like, this is happening now. Say like a few weeks ago I saw
exactly,
this. Yeah.
Like that would work really well.
Yeah. It's just weird that the creature... Everything changed so much. The freezer changed so much. The creature changed so much. I originally imagined it, like you, as a tall, thin man.
Yeah,
of the
a tall,
creature.
really
And instead, it's a short, chubby kid. It's the complete opposite.
Yeah.
Tall, thin man, short, chubby kid.
Yeah.
It's weird. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's all my weird grammar-y sort of things.
Yes. All right.
That are questionably grammar, but...
honestly, like, I had it in my actual thoughts, but I was like struggling. I was like, should I put this in actual thoughts or grammar? Because it is technically grammar structure.
Yeah.
Or like the grammar structure or like the writing structure of a story. So, yeah. All right, so on to actual thoughts. Yeah, I said, I like pepperoni and onions. Susan laughed. Really, go ahead and make it. I'm going to deliver it this time. Because, he's just going to call until we yell at him or until I drive out there. Okay, so this pizzeria knows this prankster by reputation. Mm-hmm. Yet still makes the pizza as he orders. Like, they mention they make the newbies take the delivery as a prank of their own. But our narrator knows already, like, what's going on. So is he just planning on going out to Maple Street and just eating the pizza himself? Like,
100%. Like, or not necessarily him. All right, go ahead.
Sorry, it's just he says he likes the toppings, so there's a valid assumption for that. Like, there's reading the story, there's like hints to that, yeah. But then it doesn't go into that at all when he heads out to the street and before the weird stuff happens.
Because it was there.
Yeah, you're right. But I actually would have been like happy if the narrator had actually explained between like leaving the store and going over to the weird place is that he's basically just going to go on his lunch break or his dinner break because this was like basically what he did.
What I figured, I mean, I've never worked at a pizza place, but what I figure based on this is what happens is that someone orders a pizza and you cannot deliver it to them, then that pizza is technically trash. And if it's trash, anyone can have it.
Yeah.
So
but if
essentially,
they know the kid by reputation. Like, they know it's the Maple Street kid.
Exactly. And that's why they make the pizza, because they can have free pizza, literally and legitimately not stealing, because it's in the rules that if they can't take the pizza, then you might as well throw it out.
I guess it just seems like kind of, I don't know, to me it seems like a waste of resources from a pizza point of view, but I guess it does kind of have some merit with the fact that, basically they can get away with doing this because, they can't refund the pizza. So they might as well just eat it.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like a loophole.
Pretty much. That's the word I was trying to find, yeah.
And the whole thing that if the quote-unquote prankster keeps phoning, then having him phone once and then just sending someone with a pizza gets rid of the annoyance of getting a bunch of phone calls or just tying up staff members.
That's true. Okay. Yeah, it's just like goddamn. Also, this story kind of like made it like, man, these guys they do like 200 pizzas in an hour or so. Like,
it's in my notes.
Yeah, and it's like these guys are really bored though. Like every other for the rest of the time apparently. Because they're doing pranks and stuff like that. Yeah. And it's like the prank right now. It's like, with this quote here, she was clearly expecting some elaborate prank on my part. Like the time when someone put the condom over her tailpipe. Or the time when someone plastic wrapped her truck. If she didn't see it, I didn't do it. Yeah, and my comment is just like, these guys are incredibly bored. And dicks. Also, Susan is incredibly forgiving. Maybe it's because of all the Brad Pitt pictures and heads that they gift her.
I guess.
It was just like a comment because I was just like, man, these guys are like. It adds character to the pizzeria, like especially with the name like Donkey Nose Pizza.
Yeah. That's weird.
Yep.
They're all jackasses.
Oh, that's
my God.
Oh my God.
There we go.
There we go. You know what? No problem whatsoever with that. Yeah. All right.
It's quite on the nose, actually.
Yes.
On the donkey nose.
For the odds at home, I was tapping my nose.
Yeah. We should stop doing visual gags.
So the next quote I have, that's funny. I didn't really think about it. He looked normal. A little fat. He was wearing a striped shirt. Dark hair, I said. So, Ness from Earthbound.
Yeah.
The only thing that's missing from that attire is a ball cap.
Yep. PK Fire.
Yeah. Also, I feel like this first bit, the part about it being funny and not thinking about it, could be a thought rather than in dialogue. Like, it's just like I was like, that's funny. I didn't really think about it. And then he's like, then there's like a quote. It's like he looked that gives the description of the kid. But like that first part is big, either in italics or in a bracket or something. Just to be like a thought bubble.
But he's literally answering her question.
I guess, yeah.
Otherwise, she would ask the question. He'd be like, "I never thought about it." And then another visual gag, just like stare at the ceiling and be like, as he's recalling what happens.
No, just I never thought about it, and that's his what he's thinking as she's telling him, asking him that, and then he just relays the dialogue.
That's the way
the character talks.
Yeah,
it is also a nitpick that I'm just like, I can see that being done better, or
it could work the other way, but it works fine this way, in my opinion.
Yeah. All right. The next thing I have. So I have to. Okay, I already that one. That's the one I already covered.
You should have like a pen with you and check them off when you're done. I'm trying to help. Stop doing visual gags.
All right. I was arm deep. Sorry.
Where were you arm deep?
In soapy water.
Oh, okay.
Had to clean up that gutter mind.
Is that your note?
No.
Oh, okay.
All right, hang on. Here we go. I was arm deep in soapy water, scouring a stubborn pen.
Yes.
Is that actually the word for that?
Like scrubbing it.
Scouring a stubborn. That to me that sounds weird. Like I would have gone with scrubbing, not scouring.
I mean,
scouring is like you're like to me. Whenever I think of scouring, I think of searching. Like they scoured the forest for.
Without googling it, I don't know.
Yeah.
Or
anyway.
Maybe he's just giving it a funny look as well.
Yeah. Anyway, sorry. So
it's scowl, isn't it? Not scour.
Yeah, scowling is like snarling. Yeah.
So it's actually grammar related.
Maybe. But anyway, going to my actual my point of my quote here, or this quote here. Scouring the stubborn pan, when I heard something slam behind me. I spun around, only to see Susan standing there grinning. Time to lose $10, kiddo, she said. You're opening tomorrow, so leave that pan for the morning. Let's go. Did this story just jump scare? Like, as soon as I read slam, like, I expected, like, him to turn around and, like, have something weird happen. Like, have, like, the creature, like, be there or something like that. But then it was Susan, I was like, this story just fucking, like, jump scare you like a fucking
with
cat.
A fake out?
With a fake out cat. Yeah, did it just fake out jump scare you?
Pretty much.
I don't know whether to be impressed or sad.
Well, here's the thing: did it actually scare you?
Well, no. It threw off my expectation of what was about to happen. So again, I don't know whether to be impressed that it actually like fooled me there, or I don't know.
Only you can decide.
And then there's this quote here: a hand.
Say the words.
A hand stole up to pull at one of the curls of her hair. Mousy brown going permanent gray. It wasn't hers. Sorry, I couldn't resist. Like as soon as I finished like reading that, it was just like because it was obviously her like hand like going like to her hair. But for a split second, I was like, it wasn't. It was just I just pictured this like disembodied hand going up to her like her hair and pulling it.
What's the wasn't hers talking about then?
Oh, it wasn't hers. It was mine. It was the guy I added it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's just like it's kind of like it's like he shot him.
But you're fabricating words. You didn't stop short.
No, I did because later on you find out that it was her. Like it was done like through stress and stuff. It's something that she does. Or it's like the part where like there's a knock on the door as he wiped the tears off the guy's face. From Nebraska, remember, like like when the sheriff knocked or the deputy knocks on the door on the window, and then like wipes the tears off the guy's face.
No, actually, I don't.
You don't?
I don't.
That was the hilarious part.
Yeah, that was the part. That was the what we like. Mikey caught that, and like it's supposed to be like they heard a tap on the door, and then the driver is the one that's like wiping his tear, but. The way it's written, it kind of sounds like there's a tap on the window, and then the same tapper like went and like wiped the tears off of the driver's cheek.
Oh yes, yes.
Yeah, it was kind of the same thing for this. It was just like I just envisioned like this random like arm just start pulling at her hair.
Yeah.
Anyway, sorry. Stupidity aside,
that's fabricating stupidity.
Yes,
I do stop short stupidity. We do different types of stupidity.
Yes.
That's all.
All right, moving on to the next quote. Mark, I've lived in this town my whole life. I know it like the back of my hand. Give me any address in our delivery area, anyone, and I can tell you the color of the shutters, what they normally order, and if they tip. This house can't be here. There's no goddamn 217 Maple Street. Right, now pay up, I said, sticking my hand out. She swatted it away. Mark's, yay, we get a named narrator, finally.
3/4 of the way through the story.
Yeah. He's got his eye on the prize. Like, she's going all about how creepy this should be, and he's like, yeah, now pay up.
Yeah.
I want money.
Yeah, and then she doesn't pay him.
No.
And then
He never will.
She gets what she deserves because she didn't pay him.
Oh, wow.
That's what
Karma, bitch.
That's what the monster was mad about.
Yeah.
You didn't pay your friend. I saw you out there.
You're getting eaten.
Yeah.
Also, I'm glad when they go back to Maple Street, the house is actually still there. Because I was actually kind of wondering or worried that they were going to get there and it wasn't going to be there.
Yeah. And
Because
then
that's-
Mark's just like, but it was there. I saw it.
Yeah, because it's just a common route to take in like these horror stories. So I'm glad that it chose that path.
Mm-hmm.
Then here's another quote as she's like basically going into the house. Don't go in there, I yelled as she stepped across the threshold into the house. The door, as I knew it would. As I knew it would for days and weeks, and certainly from that moment I saw the house that night, I slammed shut behind her. Wait, didn't we just do Diana House like back in New Year's? I kind of got like, as I was reading the story, I was like, this. I think I know why my buddy sent me this, or sent us this to put, because it does kind of have inklings of Diana House, and I was talking to him about that while we were when we were getting around to recording those ones.
Mm-hmm.
But it was like
it's also a common just
ghost
trope
story
in
thing, yeah. Or haunted
every-
house. Yeah.
Well, not even haunted house. Like it's any horror movie, that kind of thing happens.
The door slams. And
Yeah.
stuff like that,
Yeah.
But then like the house, but then he can't get in and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And like it's ice cold to the touch.
Ice cold, maybe not, but a door just slamming by itself. That's
and then locking. Yeah.
Well, and then like she's been integrated into the house.
Okay, I'm not talking about that part. I'm talking
No, no, no,
specifically
no.
about the door just
Okay.
closing for no reason.
Yeah, no, I know that wasn't what I mean. I just mean like other things in the story kind of like reminded me of Diana House. This was just the part that like for some reason it just like brought that back. I was like, wait, did we just do this story?
Mm-hmm.
And then the last one I have before we go into final thoughts. We're going to go actual thoughts again.
Mm-hmm.
Actual thoughts 2.0.
Really, actual thoughts.
Yeah. Besides, I knew where she was. A month after Susan disappeared, on a Saturday night, one of the new kids took an order for delivery. It was 217 Maple Street for a ham and pineapple pizza, Susan's favorite. I kind of liked the little add-on there, like at the end, like that it was Susan's pizza, the pizza toppings, because it insinuates that like she's not been killed or anything like that, but she's now one part of the house, like part of the ship, part of the crew, kind of like been integrated into the machinations of the house. So it adds an extra layer of like what the fuck to this house. It's not just a ghost story like that eats people. Like it's not simple eating or like killing people. It actually like it makes them part of it.
Yep.
And adds an extra layer of like kind of dread by the end. It's like, oh shit, Susan's still there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. My comment on that is that they could have added more, like in the section where it's talking about the pepperoni and onion
pepperoni
pizza.
onion, yeah.
They could have dropped the favorite type of pizza there from Susan. And then
like
insinuated at the end, like, the order was taken by a female voice.
Yeah, like I mean,
And then not
Was
just
given by a
to
female
drill it
voice?
home, yeah, maybe
something like
to
that.
hammer it home even more.
Yeah, and then get rid of the Susan's favorite, because you already know that. And then it leaves the reader to insinuate, she's
Yeah,
there.
okay, yeah.
So
to
Mark,
make it more,
wouldn't
you
know,
actually,
Mark wouldn't know it's a female voice unless he took the call.
But you know it's a guy anyway.
or he could have been the one that took the call.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
sent
so-
the newbie out.
So yeah, rather than have the newbie have it be like a second person second person. And rather than have like somebody else tell him what the order was, and then realize that it was Susan's favorite.
Have to be first hand, not second hand.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, second hand. That's what I was trying to remember.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then again, like by adding a few hints at the beginning, and not including, and just having it could be a female voice at the end and like that. That's when we realize like that's like it's a lot more subtler, or it's a little bit more subtle like horror to it. Yeah,
Like, like what you said when Mark said, "Oh, I like onions and pepperoni," and she'd be like, I like ham and pineapple better myself.
Yeah,
but
exactly, yeah.
Just something, it doesn't seem like it's important, but it becomes important.
and like I don't hate what we have, but that is definitely a good way to do it as well. Like I could definitely see that being an like a semi improvement. Like it wouldn't ruin the story, or it wouldn't like make the story like 1,000 times better, but it would be a nice like supplement.
Yeah, it makes you think a bit more than just saying, "Oh, it was Susan's favorite."
Yeah. All right. Well, that's my actual thoughts. So, Mikey, what do you got?
All right. So, we're already going over the freezer. I felt the part about the tinny sounding sound system didn't need to be there.
Yeah, I suppose.
Like it's just to build the scene.
Yeah.
So you can get in the moment that it's in the 80s, 90s.
Okay, good. So I actually have that in mind. Like it's
He's using a cassette player.
yeah, no, like they do have like kind of in the story like there's a lot of hints of like 80s and 90s, like it's centered somewhere in the
He's an
80s,
81
90s.
Datsun.
Yeah.
So
He'll still be in the 90s.
Oh, I know. You can have an 81 Datsun now, but he's
But there's a lot of-
actively
there's
using
also-
cassette tapes as well.
Yeah. There was also a lot of stuff that like leans itself to be either in like the early 90s, like mid to late 80s.
And he recently put in a stereo system that sounds tinny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's not modern shit.
Yeah. A second-hand system.
Did anybody look up
There's a lot of
that
hand, like...
Yeah. Did anybody look up that the name of that the band I think that was on the cassette that he was listening to?
No, but I've heard of them.
Oh, you have? Okay, I was like looking at it, I was like, I wonder, like, because it said like it's their newest version or something like that, and I was like, I wonder if that's like a hint, another hint. Like if I looked that up, I wonder if I'd be able to find like what that was, and then I didn't bother looking.
Fair. But it's like a whole bunch of just letters. Like KFM, I don't remember.
Yeah.
But I've heard of them, I just don't know a single goddamn thing about them.
Gotcha.
Either way, it's relevant.
Yes. And then I like the fact the house doesn't exist except when it does.
Yeah. And that it like even though like it is still there when they both show up again.
Yeah.
Like every other time it doesn't exist. Like I like that.
Yeah, and then thinking about it, I feel like the kid in the house is like trapped in the house and it's just going through dimensions.
We're going a little bit into my final thoughts, but fuck it. Yes, because I actually liked the fact that so the kid, like the ghost boy, like is kind of like supposed. It kind of like does a switcheroo by the end because throughout the rest of the whole story, you think that the kid, is like the main antagonist, but then like when he encounters Mark on the side of the house, he's freaking out because there's somebody in the house and like it's ruining like what they're doing and some of that. They got to get out. They shouldn't be there. So it's like, is the kid actually like just another trapped soul or something like that in the house, or like is it actually is this kid actually not like in control of the house? Is the house is there something else in the house there?
Yeah.
Like it's a nice like twist on that because I was like, oh, the kid's actually suddenly sympathetic to a degree.
He totally is.
Blackened eyes, opening mouth like black maw.
Hey man, you're judging him based on his appearance.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
You should be, because he's honestly nice.
You know,
He didn't do anything bad at
He
all.
honestly doesn't do anything at all.
No.
Like, he jump scared the guy at the beginning of the story, and then bought the pizza and gave him like a tip.
Yeah, he gave him a tip even.
Tips, yeah. And like, yeah, he doesn't like invite him in or anything like that. He just takes the pizza and goes back inside. Like that's it. Like
And he wanted him out as quickly as possible because he wanted to keep him safe.
Yeah. He's actually the hero we need.
He really is. Yeah.
Yeah, and then
He really is just Ness. He's just trapped there. Sorry, he's just trapped in a spooky house. This is actually Earthbound. Oh, this is actually
Well, it's probably on Earth
Onet.
Solo. You're not right.
it's probably Onet. The town itself is probably called Onet. I think this. I'm future me. Just give me the Earthbound name for the town. Thank you.
Right? Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, and then the reason for the prank phone calls is because he has a multi-dimensional phone, and he's trying to find a dimension that has a pizza spot that he's in.
Yeah. Yep.
And then he keeps getting them and ordering, then waiting like 20 minutes. Oh, wrong dimension. Call again.
My question is, what happens? So when Susan gets stuck in there, is he free, or does he go to like hell, or is he like just?
I'm assuming he's just collecting
he just
people.
becomes another resident of the. Or he's like, oh, now he has company in the house.
Pretty much.
Well,
that's what I figured.
He is free. He took the truck and left.
yeah, no, that's what happens. He just took that.
He's a child.
Yeah, he took the truck and left. He has $5,000 to get to start a new life.
Yep.
Yeah, fuck it, why not? Yeah, because he's actually been in there for like 10 years, so when he comes out, he's actually like immediately just ages.
He just insta ages.
Yeah. He's the newbie that took the phone call.
Yeah.
He's actually not.
And then he went and go talk to the SNTF. Dropped.
Yeah.
SNTF dropped into the story.
Of course, yeah, they could be everywhere. It's fine. You see, because he was not being antagonistic towards Mark at all. It's because he, himself, the child, is a member of the SNTF.
Yeah.
And he is there at the house, guarding the house.
He's actually the steward.
Yeah.
And then Susan inadvertently became the new steward.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah.
It's like, well, thanks, you jerk. Now I've been fired.
Yeah. It's not easy to get a job at the Supernatural Task Force. It really isn't. Mm-hmm. And he's like, I gotta go through all those, like, I gotta climb the ladder all over again and get my job back.
God, I don't want to go back to that cemetery in Maine.
Yeah.
Help that fucking fuzzball with the knives.
Right?
I was calling back to to another creepypasta that we did back in summer.
I only have so much RAM in my head.
Fuck, I can't remember the name now.
You're giving me shit.
Future me, now.
Actually, that would be Mr. Widemouth by Perfect Circle 35. Thank you.
That's not fair, you. You can do it too sometimes. It's like future me, future me. It's like,
future me?
And then I have to get you to record like that. We can insert things into the into the post edit.
It's like we have an editor.
Yeah, it's weird.
Yeah.
Anyway.
So he had to report to the Supernatural Task Force that the house had been compromised.
Yes, of course.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then he's not looking to his janitorial duty for messing up.
Yeah.
So
how's it going?
Is that it?
Yeah, it's an actual thought.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Okay, I might put in crickets.
Do it.
Future me, you know what to do. He's like, haha, not do that. Because that's too much work.
Yeah. Alright, so on to mine then. So, right at the start, with the first paragraph, just a quick comment of just like, I don't like that the apparent villain creature thing is just dropped immediately at the start with nothing happening.
Yeah, it really
there's
is
no
just
build
ignored.
up. It's there.
Yeah, it is straight up just ignored until like 3/4 of the story.
Yeah, so harkening back to what we talked about, this should be way closer to the end. That'd be way better.
Yeah.
So when he turns around and sees the thing, regardless of how far away it is, it doesn't matter. When he's in the freezer.
Yeah, we're not going back to that door.
No. He turns around. I stood there staring at the door for a moment, heavy box of frozen food in my hands. How'd you not drop the box?
I was almost expecting that to happen.
Yeah.
Like he just drops it, because seriously, if I saw something like that, I would ah!
Yeah, one of those. Well, it's icy. It's a freezer.
Yeah.
So it's like backflip,
smashes against the thing, dies.
Yes.
He's down
End of creepypasta.
He's down as the ghost of the pizzeria.
Yeah. And then as he flips out his body as a ghost, the other ghost kid's like, "Oh, not you too." That's like exactly how he died.
Sorry, kid. I'm sorry, bud.
Yeah.
I just want to say hi.
Now we can be friends forever.
And ever and ever and ever and ever.
Sorry.
Well, basically, he's just frozen in the freezer.
Let it go, man.
Wow. Yeah.
And we lost half of our audience right there.
Yep. Including me. I guess I'm done because I have more, but I'm gone. I'm
Wow.
done. But I'll continue. So this is what is this? He's just talking about like how he doesn't have a social life. His only friends are his boss and his couple of coworkers who are never ever in the story, but it doesn't matter. So my friend circle diminished to include only the manager of the pizza shack and a few other drivers and cooks who worked the late weekend shifts. End of paragraph. Start of next paragraph. I woke up thinking about him the next morning. Your boss? I didn't know it was a girl at this point.
Yeah.
Like, it was just weird. It's just talking about all these people, and then it says, I woke up thinking about him.
Yeah, no, like, again,
I
like...
think I have feelings for him.
It's kind of choppy with, like...
Yeah.
It all stems from that like... There's doing media res, where you just, like, start somebody off in the middle of, like, a crime scene that you may or may not have committed. And then going from there and explaining, like, as the story goes on, that, like, yeah, you were the one that did this, or, like, and what goes on, or, like, you know, you were framed, or something like that. And then there's doing this, where you, like, drop somebody into media res, then forgo it for a little bit because you have to introduce characters, and then you go back to it, and then stop.
Yeah.
And then go back to it and stop. Like, it kind of ruins the... It's not a good way to say this, because, like, it ruins kind of, like, the pace of the story. And like also kind of like confuses the reader because you don't know what the fuck is what they're talking about initially.
Mm-hmm. It almost feels like the story needs a quick shuffle.
Yeah,
like all of the paragraphs were all laid out on cards, and they went, oh crap! He sneezed and knocked a few over. It's like, I think that's where they went. They're slightly out of order because like it's just a couple that need to be moved, and it seems like it flows way better.
Yeah.
Yeah, moving on. A few weeks later, we were in a Saturday night rush, doing 200 pies an hour. My car packed with pizzas destined for games and parties. Surprisingly plausible. I looked up pizzas per hour, pph, and apparently you can do between 100 and 300 pph.
Yeah, no, I actually, like, I didn't not even look at it, but like I started thinking about it, and then thought of, like, the pizzeria place that we go to almost every weekend.
Yeah.
And, like, they pump out, like, at least 5 or 6, like 5 to 10 within, like, 5 minutes.
Yeah.
So, like, it's not that, like, that impossible. Like, while we were waiting there in 15 minutes, they pumped out, like, 20.
Oh, I know, it just wasn't ours.
Yeah.
For some reason.
So I was thinking, I was like, yeah, if they can do that in about 15 minutes, like about 20 or so pizzas, like, they could probably, like, 200 is not that hard.
Because, like, at least as far as the sources I saw online, like, an oven can have 10 slots for pizzas, and they cook in, like, 2 minutes, apparently.
Yeah. So, yeah.
They just
and,
fly.
like, making them, like, they can make them in, like, less than, like, a couple of minutes. So.
Yeah.
And they have, like, those processors now, so they're like, well, okay, now they have, like, I'm not sure if they had them back then, but those, like, basically dough dispensers and stuff.
Mm-hmm. I'm not sure.
But yeah, and assuming this, like, they have, like, a couple, even with a couple of, like, cooks, like, they can pump them out pretty quickly, so.
Yep. Okay, so moving on. Donkey Nose Pizza.
Donkey
Will
Nose.
this be delivery or takeout? Donkey Nose, really? That's my note.
Did you look at? I kind of wish I had looked up, like, see if there was,
If Donkey Nose Pizza
like,
is a thing,
franchise of something.
it might be. It just sounds weird. But one thing I did look up was Maple Street.
Yeah.
217 Maple Street. It looks like it takes place in Victoria Harbor,
Except
or
you're-
Collingwood, or Timmins, or New Jersey, or Illinois, or New York, or Pennsylvania.
You're looking up 217. You should be looking up 211 or 221.
Doesn't matter. It's still there. They go to the house. Either way, there's Maple Streets up.
There are. Yeah. Maple Street. Well, Maple Street is a very common name because a lot of, like, they use a lot of tree names for streets nowadays. Well, in most towns they use a tree name. Yeah.
And Front Street.
Elm Street. Every town has an Elm Street. Sorry.
It'd be a nightmare.
It would be a nightmare. That's literally actually like a phrase from I think the Nightmare on Elm Street TV show. Is Krueger just like says like every town has an Elm Street. Ah ha ha. Ha.
I'm sure it's hilarious at the time. Only to him, though, of course. But yeah, I'm done.
Okay. So on to final thoughts. So this was kind of a ghost story, haunted house story, pizza delivery story, possibly aliens, because we never really know what exactly is behind that house. But it's also at the same time I didn't mind not knowing because it adds to like the mystery, like gives me the air of mystery to the story.
I wonder if it was Jeremy.
What?
Do you think the kid's Jeremy?
No.
Going to assume this is from the Patreon episodes.
No. No. It wouldn't be.
But it's there and not there.
Yeah, but no.
We're just having a side conversation that no one else knows what we're talking about.
No.
Audience, at this moment, I am exactly like you, as I have not edited these Patreon episodes yet.
Now, if there was a burned down pile of rubble that kept appearing and disappearing, switching between house and rubble or something like that, that'd be more like it.
It's time. It doesn't matter.
Anyway, yeah. To me, it is a bit choppy at points, like, given the media res intro and, like, again, like, the like you just mentioned like a few moments ago about like him talking about his day job and then suddenly talking about the next paragraph talking about the creature or the thing they saw and then
yeah, but it's not clearly saying that
yeah.
it's switching. It seems like it's talking about the same thing.
Yeah. Through the story, it's easily centered somewhere in the 80s and 90s. Like there's lots of little details that like hammer it into either being in like the mid 80s or like the early 90s kind of area. Which I did appreciate. I actually liked, like, it gave credence to the setting time period without being too blatant, like, to give us a date, like an exact date.
No.
And like I said earlier, I liked how the ghost boy reacts at the end. Like, it's almost like fear itself, or maybe just anguish that someone is fucking with his house.
Yeah.
And screwing up with himself, like screwing up with that thing. So like, it's like, is he in control, or is just like these meddling pizza delivery people and their dog too,
Yeah.
kind of thing. We don't know. Like I said earlier, we don't know a whole lot about. It doesn't go into full details about the house outside of like when they show up and then it just vanishes. But I enjoyed that for the mystery of the whole thing, even up to the end. So that's why I partially recommend the story. Like, there's some problems with the story. Like, it needs like a couple, maybe a round or two of editing to move some things, like to make it less janky. But the story itself is pretty solid in terms of like a nice, just simple, creepy ghost or haunted or like spooky house story. Mm-hmm. So that's why I recommend it. Mikey, these tits are evil.
The question that comes to mind is, would he be using his personal car for delivery?
Yeah.
It just has the donkey nose thing on the top.
But that's more a newer thing that they've been forcing people to use their own vehicles.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
Did you look it up?
No?
Neither did I.
Yeah.
Because, I mean...
The internet will know more than us right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I think it might be like a franchise by franchise basis. Like if this is just like if Donkey Nose is just a single town franchise, they probably and he even says like he has his licenses for that. So they probably another part of like the requirement to be at the job.
Do you have a car?
Do you have your own car?
Yeah.
We'll pay for your gas, but you'll be the one driving.
Yeah.
I think that's really a franchise or like a pizzeria by pizzeria basis.
Mm-hmm. Seems fair.
Like, how much did the bosses want to skimp out on money by not buying a company car?
Anyway, so I really didn't care for the freezer section, like
All of us.
yeah. Well, like it's like, oh, the monster, and then we don't really see any ghost-like apparition for us. There's a kid, but there's nothing to say that it's
Not
the
until
same.
the end, basically, that it's revealed that the kid was the creature.
Yeah.
And he's not even like a monster. He's just
He's sympathetic. He's honestly kind of sympathetic by the end, and I kind of enjoyed that because it's still creepy, but like it gives it a little bit more depth.
yeah.
And then I like the idea of a house that is there and isn't there, and is there. It just adds a bit of mystery to it. It's like, oh yeah, it's not there.
And like it could be a ghost house, it could be an alien thing, could be
Some
sleep
magical
paralysis,
time
and-
travel situation.
Yeah, it could be a quantum like effect thing.
Yeah. That Jeremy might use.
Or
Okay,
I know.
after we're going to explain that to me.
Alright.
or it could be like, I guess, sort of poltergeist type thing.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah.
Where it's a possessed house. Oh man.
Or it could be like
Multi-dimensional possessed house.
or wizards, because like Diagon Alley, like like it's or like was it not Diagon Alley, the train station, the train platform, 9 3/4, just like it's just between like such a narrow space, but it's actually like a full blown like TARDIS level, like it's bigger on the inside kind of thing.
Nice.
Or there's like a glamour there to like make the house vanish and reappear.
Or like different dimensions.
Yeah.
Like for some reason, the call put the pizzeria people all in a different dimension where that house does exist. Like he essentially called them over to
Like
his dimension
adjust their frequency
Yeah.
to that reality.
so he can have pizza.
yeah.
It's really the quest for good pizza.
He's just like going through the different. He's like a freaking dial going through different dimensions.
Every Maple Street like town that you mentioned is actually where there's a 217 Maple Street.
Yes.
So like,
But they all have different pizzerias around them.
Yeah,
So he's just
exactly.
teleporting around. Which one do I want today?
I want the one in. I want. For some reason, I picture like if Donkey Nose Pizzeria. Cause I figured it's somewhere in America. So the one that you mentioned, New Jersey, I was like, oh, it's clearly going to be New Jersey.
Sure, why not? Yeah.
So, anyway, overall, it was an enjoyable read, so I'm going to recommend it.
Okay.
Yay. Get out of me. I don't know why I pick it up my phone. I don't need to. I'll write these down. I mean, I'm pretty much going to parrot what you guys said because there's only a couple little problems. The intro should be where the intro should be, but it's not.
But it's just a structure, like a lot of the issues that we had were more structuring issues.
Yeah.
Like, it had a surprisingly lack of grammar problems with this one. Like one front end, I was able to pick up two like kind of like spell issues or grammar issues.
Yeah.
But like
It was
other-
mainly structure.
yeah.
So that's as confusing as that might be. It's nice to see that at least there aren't just basic
Like so
spelling
it
issues.
at
with
least
it.
had one like a pass through or so of editing for that. But the issue really is just like the structure, like where like things should go to make it a little bit more coherent.
That being said, the meat and potatoes of the story, what's actually being told, is interesting, and I like the characters. In a way, I kind of wish there was more characters because he mentioned that he's friends with some of the cooks and other staff, but it's really just him and Susan.
Yeah, I mean, it would add on to the word count, but like honestly,
But
the story
that-
isn't really about them; it's about Mark and Susan.
Oh, I know, but here's the thing: it could also continue where it is.
It could, yeah.
Because
This is a fairly short story. It's only like 6 pages long.
yeah, and the way it ends now, Susan is assumed to be alive, trapped in this house. But like a month or so later, when he has a new boss or whatever, another call comes in, and it's the Maple Street kid. And they go there, and there's no Maple Street, haha, it's a joke. But the next time it comes in, or like every time the Maple Street thing comes in, Mark takes the call.
Because he wants
He wants to figure out what's going on with
Yeah.
Susan, and then one of the times, 3 or 4 times in, he actually finds the house again. And Susan answers the door. But
And
she
then-
doesn't talk to him. Like, she doesn't recognize who he is.
Yeah.
So, and like she's kind of messed up like the kid was.
Yeah, you could have a lot more. You could develop the story a little bit even further.
Yeah.
Like you have like maybe he grabs her and like tries to get her out of the house and like some force kind of.
At that point, he'll probably get pulled in.
Yeah, gets pulled in or
Yeah.
or almost gets pulled in. Now it then becomes kind of like how do we like figure out this? It becomes more of an expansive universe story.
Well, that's the thing. I wouldn't want it to expand into something where like he saves her. And they have a happy ever after thing.
That's not not the point of horror. Horror is supposed to have some like dark endings.
I just think it'd be interesting to go back and see that she is still alive, and see that the house essentially takes people and puts some weird control on them, and ends up pulling him in, and then he dies. GG.
I mean, like
he becomes one with the house, and that's over, and that's it.
I get what you're saying. I just don't see the point because the way it is right now. That basically does the same thing because we know that she's trapped or like possibly dead or whatever in this.
We assume.
Yeah, well, whatever. That's like how you do things in horror. You like don't always have all the answers.
I'm not saying I hate what it is. I'm just saying I wouldn't hate it if it went that far.
I guess.
Would you hate? Would you hate?
I honestly probably disagree with you on that. Like I don't. As it is right now, I'd be fine with it. I don't. If that's the route you're going to take with the expanding on it, then no.
You don't want to see what happened to Susan?
No.
Even if she's alive, just a monster?
I am fine to just speculate.
That's fair. And like I said, I like it the way it is. I'm going to recommend it as well. But it's interesting to think of other ways to take it. That's it.
All right. Well, that's it. Then that was this week's episode of El Dente Rigamortis. If you like what you heard, or if you didn't, leave us a comment in the comment section below. This gets posted, whether it be on QB6, Facebook, YouTube, or Tumblr. We're on iTunes, so let us help us with a rating and review. Help us spread like a virus. You can go to Twitter and talk to us there.
Is that
Mikey is at the E stands for evil. Gamer in Yellow is at the Gamer in Yellow, but without the W. I'm at Review Cultist. You can also leave us emails at aldenterigamortis@gmail.com. That's ALDENTERIGAMORTIS @gmail.com, where you can also leave us suggestions for other creepypastas. You can check out the title cards for each episode on crazonstudios.tumblr.com, crazon.deviantart.com, or go to the YouTube channel where we have the videos of each episode, which are the title cards added with the audio. And if you'd like to help support the show, you can go to Patreon. Go to Al Dente Rigamortis on Patreon and select the backer tier you'd like to support us at. We have $2 and $5 tier that give you early access episodes as well as special episodes that me and the co-hosts have been doing. And for our backers that are already helping support the show, thank you immensely. You're helping keep those hosting bills at bay, and we very much appreciate that. And for our regular listeners and the authors of these stories, thank you immensely, because without you, we wouldn't have much of a show. So, again, thank you. Till next time, I've been your host, Review Cultist.
I'm Mikey. E stands for evil.
And I'm the Gamer in Yellow.
And this has been Al Dente Rigamortis. Sleep well.
Just talk amongst yourselves.
Oh man, there's two of me.
Talk amongst yourselves. I guess he's started. I was talking to him and
Alright. Welcome to the Mikey Show. All Mikey, all the time. Do 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 do. Do 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 do. Fun time.